Okay, so for the second part, we need to post the totals from the analyzed cash book into our T accounts. So this question says, post all the totals and balances from the analyzed cash book of Food to Go Limited to the relevant ledger accounts below. So that means that each one of these totals for our analyzed columns, so sales, VAT, capital, purchases, VAT, wages, and electricity, each one of the T accounts we're going to use the headings from the analyzed cash book, sales, VAT, capital, and that's going to be the heading of our ledger accounts. And remember, if the total is on the debit side in the analyzed cash book, it goes on the credit side in the ledger accounts. So let's have a look and see what that looks like. So the first one we have is the sales. So that's going to go into our sales account. In here, we're going to call it sales. Because it's on the debit side, it's going to go on the credit side of the T account. So it's going to be 12,000. The date for each one of these is at the end of the month. So it's going to be the 31st to the 5th. 19. The details is going to be where it's coming from. So it's coming from the analyzed cash book. So we're going to use ACB, and that's the first one done. The next one then in the analyzed cash book is VAT. So we're going to go to our T accounts. We're going to call this the VAT account. The VAT for this is on the debit side. So it goes on the credit side 1,620. So it goes 1,620 on the credit side. The date is going to be the 31st of the 5th, 19. Now it's important for this, for the VAT, that this VAT represents sales. So your details for this is going to be sales. And the next item then is capital. So capital is on the debit side. So it goes on the credit side in a new T account. We're going to call it capital. The capital figure is 21,500. So we're going to put in here on the credit side 21,500. It's the end of the month, so the 31st to the 5th, 19. Whereas this one coming from, it's coming from the analyzed cash book. Okay, so the only one so far that is different is our VAT. It's our sales VAT that goes on the credit side. So we use sales here and not analyzed cash book. So that's all the items in the debit side that we've put in. So now we move over to the credit side. So remember, it's on the credit side in the analyzed cash book. It goes in the debit side of your T account. So the first item we have is purchases. So we're going to call the account purchases. Remember, it goes on the debit side. So the purchases is, so it's 5,600. And it goes on the debit side, 5,600. The date then is going to be 31st of the 5th, 19. And where's it coming from? The analyzed cash book. Okay, so everything else is going to be analyzed cash book or cash or bank. So remember, if you're using cash, that it's cash that you're using for your details throughout. Or if it's bank that you're using for your details throughout. I'm going to use analyzed cash book. The only thing that's going to be different is the VAT. So sales so far here. Okay. The next item then we have is VAT. So we don't have to open up a VAT account because we've one opened up already. It's on the credit side in the analyzed cash book, so it goes on the debit side in the VAT account, and it's for 756. So our VAT account goes on the debit side, 756. It's going to be the 31st to the 5th, 19, because it's always the end of the month. And the details for this is what does that VAT belong to? So it belongs to purchases. So purchases is going to be in your details there. And we know we're going to find a balancing figure here when we balance off our T accounts. Your next one then is wages. So we're going to open up a wages account. Your wages is on the credit side, so it goes on the debit side in the account, and it's for 5,850. So 5,850. Your date, end of the month, 31st to the 5th, 19. And your details, analyzed cash book. And the last one is going to be electricity for 670. It's on the debit side in the analyzed cash book, so it goes on the credit side. It's on the credit side in the analyzed cash book, so it goes on the debit side in the T accounts. And it's going to be for electricity. So we said it goes on the debit side, and it's for 670. The date is going to be 31st of the 5th, 19. It's going to be ACB. And that's all the items put in. Okay, so just fix the date there. The next thing we do now is we need to balance our accounts. So to balance our accounts, we find out which side is the highest, and then we put the amount on the debit side to make sure they're equal. So we've got 12,000 on the credit side here, so we just need to put 12,000 on the debit side. It's going to be the 31st of the 5th of the 12th. The details is going to be balanced, and it's going to be CD because it's going to be carried down. Where's it going to be carried down to? It's going to be carried down to the next month. Next month's the 1st of the 6th, 19. Balance brought down, and that's going to be your 12,000. And that's going to be the figure. When we do the trial balance, you'll have trial balance, you'll have sales, and on the credit side, you'll have 12,000. Now, the VAT. So, which is the highest? So, the credit's the highest. So, we're going to put 1,620 in there. Now, we have to find a figure that when it's added to 756, gives us 1,620. So, in your calculator, you're going to put 1,620 and you're going to take away 756, and that's going to give you 864. To test it then, we're going to add those two figures together. So in your calculator, put 756 plus 864, and it should give you 1,620. So this is our balance figure. So once again, the end of the month, 31st of the 5th, 19. It's the balance. It's the carry down figure. Where's it carried down to? It's carried down to the next month. So the 1st of the 6th, 19. Balance brought down. And make sure you bring down, it's the 864 that you bring down and not the 1,620. Count then as capital. So credit 21,500. So to balance it off, we just need to put 21,500 on the debit side. What's the date? So it's going to be the 31st of the 5th, 19. The details is the balance. It's the carried figure. It's going to be carried down. Where is it carried down to? The next month. So the 1st of the 6th, 19. Balance brought down. And how much you're bringing down? 21,500. Okay, make sure you put a single and a double line on each one of these. Represents that you've closed off the account. Purchases then, debit side 5,600. So you need to put 5,600 on the credit side. What date did that happen on? It happened at the end of the month. What does it represent for details? So it's the balance carried down figure. Where is it carried down to? So it's carried down to the next month. So the 1st of the 6th, 19. Balance, it's the brought down figure. How much is brought down? 5,600. Wages then, on the debit side, you got 5,850. So you need to put 5,850 on the credit side. The date is going to be the end of the month. So the 31st of the 5th, 19. The balance is the balance carried down figure. Where is it carried down to? It's carried down to the next month. So the 31st of the 6th, 19. This is the balance and it's the brought down figure. How much did we bring down? It was 5,850. And the last one then, electricity, we got 670 on the debit side. So you need to put 670 on the credit side. What's the date? End of the month, 31st to the 5th, 19. It's going to be your balance carry down figure. Where's it carried down to? The next month, 1st to the 6th, 19. Balance brought down, and it's 670. Okay, so that's how you post the totals from the analyzed cash book. So what do? We took the headings from the analyzed cash book. Those headings went to the headings in the T accounts. We said that if the total was on the debit side in the analyzed cash book, it goes on the credit side in the account. And if the totals was on the credit side of the analyzed cash book, it went to the debit side of the T accounts. And when we them all entered, then we balanced them off. Okay, making sure for VAT that we found out what the difference was between the two sides to make sure that these two figures stay the same. Important then that you put a single and a double line underneath it to make sure that the accounts are closed off, and it makes it nice and neat. So it should look something like this. The next video then, I'll show you how to take these balances then and extract a trial balance from it. Any questions then, just send them on.